question that I get asked a lot is, which tire do I prefer, the Accelera 651 Sport or the ACCELERA-PHI? Today in this video we're going to talk about the differences between these two tires and why it's tough to pick one or the other. But hopefully with this information you guys can make the right choice for what you do, your car, and your driving style. So the first thing I think we should talk about is tire life. The 651 Sport comes in two compounds, two treadwears for that matter, a 200 and a 100 treadwear. Very sticky. A 200 treadwear tire is extremely aggressive for drifting and road race, but you can even get it grippier in a 100 treadwear, and we don't use that for drifting as much. I'm sure there are guys that do. I don't personally, but the road course guys, the time attack guys, that would be a much better tire for what they're doing. The PHI, which is almost an all-season tire, has a little bit harder of a treadwear, a 400, and it's going to last longer, but it doesn't do extremely good under heat, high heat. So I'm going to give you guys my experience driving on this tire, which I've driven on this one more, but I do have experience with this tire. I went up to Ohio for a 3-day drift event in 100-degree weather, really hot track temps, and I had no issues at all, other than if you don't cool this tire off in between laps and you hot lap back to back to back to back, you will see chunking. So what I recommend to all of you that have either ran this tire or plan on running it in the future, if you just let the tire cool down a little bit in between laps, you don't get overly excited and just go back to back to back, you're going to see an extremely long life on this tire. I think I got 36 laps at Killcare, which is an oval track and a 240 horsepower 350Z. I mean, that's great. You could basically run one set of tires all day if you let it cool down. So I got to stress that to you. The PHI, high temperature in this tire will kill it. It will chunk and it will fall apart. The 651 Sport does great under heat. It is a softer compound. It's a more expensive tire. It is engineered for racing. And under high heat, under hot lapping, you're going to see less laps, but you're going to see consistent tire wear, and you're going to not have to worry about that thing delaminating or falling apart. So in my S14, which made 560 horsepower on a track like Pat's Acres, I'm just trying to give you guys a little bit of a comparison, so hopefully you can come up with what you think it's going to last at your track. Pat's Acres, slower track, but very long. I was getting 12 laps out of one set. It's a small cool down in between laps. That cool down was just coming back into the pits, putting a different passenger in the car, and going out for a ride along. So 12 to 14 laps, I think, is what we got. Now, talk about forward and side bite. Side bite and forward bite is the grip that the tire is giving you, whether you're in drift or you're driving straight. Now with a low horsepower car, you're going to get good forward bite pretty much all the time because your car doesn't make enough power to spin that tire, pulling down the straightaway. But this tire, even in a car with 400 or 500 horsepower, is going to give you pretty good forward bite. Side bite, if you don't know what side bite feels like, side bite is the weight that you feel in your hips when you're in drift, when the car's set at an angle. If there's no weight pushing your hips in the direction the car is drifting, you probably don't have the most side bite. So think about that next time you're drifting. When you're going around the corner, see if you feel any weight on your hips. If it's just, you're just sitting there and there's no weight pushing you into the side of your bucket seat or the side of your factory seat, maybe it's time to put a little bit of grip into the car. So, not a lot of side bite, pretty good forward bite. 651 Sport is going to supply you with all the grip you need. Now, alignment and tire pressure is going to play a big part when it comes to grip. If you have a poor alignment with a bunch of negative camber, with high air pressure, and it's towed out, you're not going to have any grip. But with a minor, moderate alignment setup in the rear, zero toe, zero camber, that's gonna play a part. But you can lower the air pressure in the PHI and gain some side bite and forward bite depending on the horsepower of your car. When you run these at a higher pressure, because to compensate for low horsepower, I was running these at about 45 PSI cold at Kill Care, and I had no side bite. Now this tire, 651 Sport, I can run at pretty much any air pressure between 50 and 8 PSI. So 8 PSI all the way up to 50, and I'm going to get forward and side bite regardless. Now I'm definitely going to get more if the tire pressure is lower and I have an aggressive alignment. And that's something we're going to talk about in another educational video like this, how to set your car up to gain grip or drift alignment. Moving on to the next topic, I want to talk about weather conditions. So, where the PHI Accelera tire is an all-season, it does great in the rain. I would probably rather drive on this tire in the rain, not only driving on the road and daily in a car, but also drifting. This tire, the 651 Sport, has these little pockets here that are supposed to help push water out of the way, and I think it does a good job of that driving straight, but I think that these lack grip in drift in the rain, where these probably perform a little bit better in the rain. And how important is that to you? I don't know. It depends on if you're going to be dailying your car on the 651 Sport or dailying it on the PHI. I think this is a great daily driver / daily drifter tire. I used to run these on my S13 way back before I even drove for Accelera, and they always performed well. I never felt like the car was loose, just driving down the freeway or whatnot. So probably have to go with this tire when it comes to rainy weather. Now, when it comes to snow or ice, never driven either tire on any road conditions like that. And we talked about heat. So the last thing that I want to talk about is the price point between these two tires. Now, I exclusively run a 265 35 18 in both the PHI and the 651 Sport, and the prices are great. The PHI comes in at $95, 651 Sport, $132. Now, if you dabble in the grippy R compound style tire, you would know that $132 is an insane price for a tire that supplies this much grip. You can take it from me, I've driven on this tire a lot, or take it from any of the other drivers that drive on this tire consistently. You can check out our Instagram page or our Facebook and see some of their feedback on some of the other drivers that are thrashing on this tire, keeping up with some of the best drivers in the world, in the country. Where this tire supplies you with a good drivability as far as like a daily or a daily drifter, and with the right alignment and the right suspension, can supply you with pretty good grip. Definitely not going to have what this offers, but it is an alternative, especially for driving it on the road every single day. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to me ramble about these two awesome tires. And what I suggest to all of you is pick up 2 of each. Go to your local event, try them both out, and find out what works best for you and your driving style. Thanks.